with Pink and Maine. Thanks for joining me today. Going to be making some cards with our Stacked Snowflake dies. Our Stacked Snowflake dies is a large set of 4 dies that cuts out different layers of a beautiful snowflake. You can use them independently, or you could layer 2 together, 3 together, or all 4 together to give different looks for snowflakes. I'm going to use 2 snowflakes for this card, and I'm stacking all 4 layers together for each one, and we're going to make a slimline card. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue our snowflakes together. There's our first 2 layers. Isn't it gorgeous with just 2 layers? I've used a dark blue cardstock and also a teal glitter paper. Here's 3 layers together. So that bottom layer I've cut out of our silver glitter paper. And the bottom layer that I'm going to glue the whole thing to is kind of like a shadow layer, but it adds that color that will show through the entire snowflake. And there's our first snowflake. Isn't it gorgeous? You just layer with different cardstock colors, different glitter papers. It makes a beautiful snowflake. And it's very simple to layer it together. You can tell with each layer where it's going to go. And here's the second snowflake for the card. And this one I've used cardstocks, glitter paper, and some of our foil cardstock. It's got different shininess to it. So for our card base, I have an 8.5 by 3.5 inch when folded slimline card in this really pretty royal blue cardstock. I have a white panel to go over the top of our card, and this is cut using our beautiful Slimline die set. So it has this really fun rectangle that has 2 rounded corners and 2 regular edge corners. We're going to do some ink blending on this panel, and we're going to use our random dots stencil. So our larger stencils are perfect for your slimline cards because they're 8.5 inches by 6.25 inches. So anything that you can fit within that size, you can stencil. So our panel fits perfectly under there, and I'm just going to tape it with some washi tape to the back so that it won't slide around. I've used different blues and teals in our snowflakes, so I thought I'd use a teal ink pad along with our mini ergonomic blender brush, which is easy to hold and use and blends wonderfully. I have a piece of scratch paper underneath, so don't make a mess on my work surface. We're just going to rub the brush in the ink pad. And we're just going to, in circular motions, run that over our stencil. Now we're done with our stenciling. I'm going to remove the panel from the back of the stencil. So as you can see, that random dots stencil just puts random polka dots, and it kind of looks like a snowstorm, little snow flurries all over the paper. So I love that. And now I'm ready to quickly clean up my stencil and my brush. So while I have the scratch paper here, I'm just going to spray a few spritz of our Squeaky Clean brush cleaner. It also cleans up the stencil really nicely and easily. Just a few spritz there. And then to clean the ink off my brush, I'm going to do the same. You can already see how on the brush that cleaner has kind of neutralized that ink and it's taking it away. And I'm just going to rub the excess ink off of the brush onto my Scrub It Clean cloth until I'm not seeing any more ink. And then I can put the brush aside and let it dry until I need it again. Wipe the ink off my stencil with the same cloth. And just like that, I have a perfectly clean stencil and a brush ready to use next time. Now let's begin to assemble our card. I'm going to glue these snowflakes onto the stenciled white cardstock panel where I want them. So if you'll notice, I've put both of the snowflakes where they're kind of coming off the edge of our panel. And I'm just going to go behind and just trim the excess with my scissors. And you just want a good sturdy pair of scissors to do that as you're going through several layers. Oh, I think that's gorgeous. Now we're going to glue this panel down to our card base. So here we have our card so far. I think it looks really pretty. I've stamped a sentiment, warmest wishes for the holidays. And this sentiment is from our Mugs and Kisses stamp set. And I'm just going to put this along the bottom here, kind of covering a little bit of our snowflake at the bottom. That will look really nice. And just to add a little bit more sparkle and shine, I'm going to use some of our Starlight gems. This come in all these pretty colors, and they have a really multifaceted iridescent top that gives a really nice shine. Oh yes, I think those were the finishing touch we needed for our card. I have to hold it a little bit sideways to get it in card in the camera view, but I think that came out really pretty. For our next card, we're going to make an easel card. So I have my parts and pieces ready. This snowflake I've already assembled. So I've used all 4 layers again, using different cardstocks and glitter papers. I have a top folding A2 size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. And I've taken the middle of the top piece of the card and I've scored it in half. And then you're gonna fold it in towards the inside of the card. I'm gonna decorate the 2 halves here first. So here's our card so far. I have the 2 halves of the front piece and they are decorated. The pattern paper with the snowflakes is from our Winter Wonderland paper pad. So I have a beautiful snowflake and I want to put it right in the center of the card, but I only want to glue it to the bottom half of this panel because when we stand the card up like an easel, I want that snowflake to go over the top. So there, now we have our snowflake glued just to the bottom portion of the front of the card. You can see how big and bold this beautiful snowflake is, how it can be a perfect focal point for your card. So now as you stand the easel part of the card up, you can see our snowflake is going to stand up like so. It'll be really pretty display card. So I'm going to open our card up because we need to give the front of the card a landing spot, a place where the edge of it will sit so that it will stand up. But I also want to add this sentiment here so that we have a sentiment on our card. And this is the Season's Greetings die. It's part of our Christmas Greetings die set. The die comes with Merry Christmas and Season's Greetings. And there's also a shadow feature you can use with the sentiments as well. But I'm just using the word dies for this card. And I've cut it out of glitter paper. So you can see how our glitter paper cuts with ease, even this very intricate word dies. So let's glue that down. Now we have our sentiment. I cut out 2 half-inch strips of blue cardstock that I'm going to glue together and glue down onto the inside of the card so that the front of the card has a place, like I said, to sit against so that it will stay open. So here's the inside of our card. Now if we close the front part there and it stands up, it's so pretty. I love it. So this is a gorgeous card that you can give that the recipient can display, and it has that beautiful snowflake, Season's Greetings. I'm going to add just a little bit more sparkle and shine to the front of the card. This time I'm going to use our clear glitter enamel dots. So they're perfectly clear, but they have beautiful iridescent sparkly glitter inside. So they'll just add kind of a subtle shine to the card. And there we go. Like I said, they add just a nice little subtle hints of more glitter and sparkle. For our next card, I've totally changed up the color palette here, and we are using purples and lavenders. I think these are really pretty too, so I've used some of our glitter paper in the darker plum color and also the lilac, which has hints and shimmer and shine of other colors in there. So I'm going to glue our snowflake together first. I've also cut out a layer of this snowflake with some of our holographic cardstock from one of our holographic paper packs. And it's super sparkly and pretty. And here's our gorgeous holographic and glittery purple toned snowflake. This card's just going to go together super simple, quick, and easy, but it's going to be gorgeous. I have an A2 size side folding card base. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. I've cut out another piece of the lilac glitter paper, super pretty. And then I've cut out from our Winter Wonderland this lavender polka dot. And we're going to layer those together onto the card base. Now we will glue our snowflake down to the card. And I have this sentiment, enjoy the magic of the season. And this is from our Winter Snow Globe Scenes stamp set. And I'm just going to put this down in the bottom right-hand corner. In the Starlight Gems, we also have lavender. So I think I'm going to add a few of those to the card. And there we go, another gorgeous sparkly snowflake card. For our last card, we're going to do something a little different and fun. I have a top folding A2 size card, but on the front, I have used the bottom layer of the Stacked Snowflake dies to cut out of the front of the card. On the inside of the card here, I've added some of our Easy Tear tape in the 1/8 inch width because it fits perfectly right here on this edge where the snowflake almost comes to the edge of the card. And the reason I've added that adhesive on the inside of the card is I want to put a piece of clear acetate on the inside of the card so that you have like a clear window on the front of the card. So I'm going to remove the backing of the tape and add that acetate to the inside of the card. If you don't have acetate, you could possibly use your stamp or die packaging, the clear packaging it comes in. I always like to reuse those if I can. And here we have the front of our card with that window. You can always cut a piece of cardstock to go on the inside to cover the adhesive parts of the acetate, but it actually doesn't show through all that bad. So I'm gonna leave mine like this. You would just cut a piece to cover this and then cut the snowflake out of that piece to go, so you would still have your window, but it would cover up the edges of the acetate inside. I've also layered 3 stripes of the 1/8 inch Easy Tear tape down here to the bottom of the card, and I've cut some 1/4 inch strips of the blue glitter paper, and I'm going to layer those down here at the bottom. There, that just adds a little bit extra color and shine down there to the bottom of the card. So now we're going to add our snowflake to the card. And again, I've cut out all 4 pieces. I've used cardstock, I've used our glitter paper, and I've used another sheet of our holographic cardstock. But I'm not going to layer all 4 of these together and glue it onto the card. I'm going to take the 2 top layers and glue them on the front of the card. And I'm going to take the 2 bottom layers and glue them on the inside of the card. This piece that's going on the inside, let's place it first. I'm going to gently lay it down and see where I need to move it into place to fit right inside the window. And our Easy Squeeze craft glue gives you those few seconds to shift and move something around before it adheres. Now we'll adhere the next layer of the snowflake onto the bottom one. There, isn't that pretty? I love that sparkle of that holographic cardstock. So now when you close it, you can see the snowflake on the inside. So let's glue the top 2 layers of the snowflake to the outside of our frame. I'm using our Easy Squeeze craft glue to glue all these snowflakes together, and it makes it nice and easy because you can squeeze out just as little or as much as you need. But you can also use our adhesive sheets when you're die cutting the snowflake. Just add the adhesive sheets to the back of your cardstock, and all you have to do then is peel and stick when you're ready to assemble. So I'm gonna carefully place this top snowflake where it should go. And remember, when you're gluing the snowflake to the top to this acetate, you need very, very little glue, just tiny, tiny amount of glue, because it's a non-porous surface. It's not going to soak up any of that glue, so the glue will have a tendency to just squish out from the edges if you add too much. And here we have our finished card. I think this is super fun. I'm not going to add a sentiment to this one. It's just going to be like a little note card that I can send. We've got that snowflake on the front with that window, and you open it up to the snowflake on the inside, and they go together and they just give this dimensional look that's really fun and really pretty. Thank you again so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed these cards I created with our Stacked Snowflake dies. The Stacked Snowflake dies make a big, bold, beautiful snowflake that can be the highlight of your cards and perfect for your scrapbook layouts as well. You can find them at pinkandmain.com or ask your local retailer. Until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.